Hi, thanks for checking out our channel here. This is going to be a how to test and repair video, hopefully on a Gallagher unit. There's a little bit about us. Another thing about us real quick, we are a, don't advertise too much, but we are a dealer for both the Gallagher brand and the Power Wizard brand. I don't really push too much on selling somebody something unless they're asking and looking for something new. Then we'll definitely try to help you out there. You know, if you need help figuring out what's a good unit, what's a bad unit, what you should buy, what you should stay away from, I can definitely help you out with that. And if you want to buy something online or for some local co-op, a farm store, go right ahead. I'd rather do that than have to sell you something here and stock something. But we'll definitely help you out, maybe get you a good price on something if we can. So, but this is a Gallagher M1000. It's a pretty good unit. They sold them from about 2005 to about 2017. So they're around about 12 years. Pretty stout units, 10 stored joules, probably 5-6 output. So I would guess somewhere in that range. So this particular unit's a 2011 model. The serial number on the back, so it's the 11. That's the year it was built. So it's a 2011, so it's 10 years old. The note on it says, lights up, no spark. So let's plug it in and see what it actually does. Alright, well that's kind of lighting up. So we've either got a bad capacitor or we've got a bad board. Now I got capacitor in stock right now, but I don't have the boards. I'm out of those. You know, they're not a common thing to come in unless you get all of a sudden get a bunch of them in. So I may have to order a part. But looks like somebody's already been into this. They usually have a security screw in here, but someone's put Phillips in these things, so someone's already been into it once. So let's, I don't know where my Phillips, no, it's just a regular screwdriver. Now these are usually got a security screw in them, but somebody took them out. Because they're UL listed units, and they've got, UL tells most brands that have, or they're UL listed, if you on AC powered units, they have to have some kind of security screw in them of some sort, Torx, something that's non Phillips screw basically, or non. Pretty clean so far. Let's test this capacitor first. It's 25 microfarad 1200 volt capacitor. So we're going to test the capacitor. I like pulling them out just to make sure that you don't get any kind of weird, funky readings from the board and, you know, making this thing read good or bad. So test your capacitor. Put your meter on capacitance, not ohms. Capacitance is that symbol right there, the yellow symbol above my finger. It's the symbol for a capacitor. It's not a resistor, so you don't ohm it out. So your meter should change to an NF or UF or something. It's 25, there's no polarity to it, so we're going to read it. And reading 21.6. So the capacitor's not great, but it's not bad. So probably got an issue with the board. These are pretty fancy boards. And I can do some work on these boards, but they got so much surface mount crap on them that it's really hard to fix these boards, at least for a guy like me. We'll go ahead and test the transformer just to see, but I don't think the transformer's bad. They don't go bad that often. But we're going to check the primary and secondary side. Primary side of the transformer on any brand is the big wires. You look over here, it's got skinny wires. That's the output side. So we're going to test here. Should be 0 to 1 ohm. And see 0.2. Output, I don't know what's 15, 20, 30, 10. I'm not sure what it's supposed to read, but it should read something like 4. So the transformer is good, but it's got some crud built up on this terminal like it was burnt. So I wonder if there's just a bad connection somewhere. Plug that in for a second, but I'm going to pull this board out. Unplug this wire here. See, it's gotten hot and such right there. So these SCRs might be bad. Big ones with the heat sinks on them. There's also a couple of big diodes right there that could be bad. Those capacitors are supposed to be red, but they turn kind of a brown color. They don't probably okay. Oh, I just see something else here. This terminal, well, supposed to look like this. This sits right there. It's twisted out of place, and the terminal bolt fell out. But this terminal is supposed to look like this, which plugs into the board. Look at that one. It's been burnt right off, so we'll have to replace that. And then you look at the board here. That's the terminal that was plugged onto. It's supposed to look like this. Little female spade connector that's soldered to the board. Well, that one's all burnt off, so I've got more of those. I can solder another one of those on. Let's pull the ground. Oh yeah, lightning got a hold of it. Look at that, burnt that terminal right up. It's supposed to be nice and clean. So we need a new terminal bolt, maybe a new board. We'll see. It's supposed to look like that, and it's all burnt up like that. So that terminal bolt's all burnt up. So we'll need a new terminal bolt. Need another one of these little connectors. Pretty cheap. Capacitor's not terrible. Let's check this board. We may have to replace the board, but we'll check these diodes here. And I don't know if I've got those SCRs. I had to pull them out and actually look at the number on them, see what they are. I might have one that will work, but let's check these big diodes here. That one checks out bad. Either those diodes are bad or the SCR is bad itself. So let's pull one diode out and let's see what it reads out of circuit. Because it could be that those SCRs are bad, and since they're tied in with those diodes are reading bad because the SCRs that's across it is shorted. So it's that's why that could be why those diodes are reading bad. So I gotta find out where they are on the back side. Looks like two of them were right here. Two of the solder joints are right there. So I have a feeling that the SCRs are probably okay. Hopefully. Oh, jeez. Short board had a charge belt up in there. Didn't realize it. So what it tells me is it's charging up but not able to discharge, because either those diodes are the reason why, or the SCRs can't fire because the diodes are bad, or the SCRs are bad and that's why it's not firing. Because these boards aren't cheap. Not super expensive, but you know, a brand new unit's $400+ $500 if you go with the equivalent size, which is a MB1000. They're a $500 unit roughly, maybe higher. The M1100, which would be a little bit stronger by a little bit. They're $400+. Good units, but they're not cheap. And boards are about half price of what those go for. Maybe probably a little less than half price. Yeah, I'm sure they're less than half price. Okay, let's wrap up. That. Let's check this diode out. Nope, that diode's bad. So let's change. So that means But the other one's probably bad too, so let's take the other one out. Well, do you want to grab there's like 4 or 5 boxes outside the door. If you want to pop them open and log them in. There's a big red tray with like 3 or 4 units you had stacked over here. I put it on the edge of on the floor next to the rack there. So, cause that's to me too hard to put the thing on the bottom, try to drag it out on the bottom shelf. One thing, maybe on Monday we'll they empty the dumpster on Friday. Maybe Monday we can go with that other shelf right there as well. That one. No, that's all right. I don't care. And then we'll
This one here is, I'm just letting it run.
yeah, I maybe have to hook up to a fence and maybe do that ground test thing that we do.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do sometime. I want to get a some stuff and make a little fence and then.
Yeah, I like to get that.
Yeah.
You can't hang one of your things on it.
The load tester thing.
Yeah.
That won't trigger that fault, that ground fault deal. All right. So what we'll try to do with this thing, we're going to probably replace the capacitor since it's a little low. It's lost like 9 of its, or 4. I mean, we can keep it in there. That's where your joules kind of comes from. As part of that deal is the capacitance. So that's what helps you fight through the load and keep the voltage up high going to the transformer onto the fence. It's coming from the big capacitors. And that capacitor not going to get any better. So and this thing's 10 years old, so it's lost like 4 last 10 years. So I might as well put another one in there and keep it going for a little longer. Allow the unit to run as best it can on the fence. A lot of solder on that terminal. Same with this one. If this doesn't fix it, this is a big waste of time. Let's see what we can do to pull it out of there. Just a second, I want to test that diode real quick. Okay, both those are bad. Now these do have a kind of a polarity to them, so you have to put them in right. Hopefully the board, the board's marked so we know where they go. As we'll put. Okay, that hole still got solder in it, so we'll do it in a second. Let's put this diode right here. hole right here in the board where the diode comes through, but it was there's so much solder on there. There it is. It was hiding. Couldn't even get the diode to go through. Now if this works, we're going to probably make this a two-part video where we'll fix the rest of the board and everything else, but this will be the main repair at the moment. If this doesn't fix it, we're going to have to do something different. We're going to get a new board for it. The new boards that they got out for these M1000s are a little bit better built. I mean, even those things 10 years old, but new boards that all the little quirky things that these things had back in the day, the new boards have taken care of a lot of the issues that they did have, which wasn't a lot, but they did. You know, Gallagher does try to improve their units as they see a problem with something or something they can make better. They do. Don't just let it just sit there and be the same as it's been for 10 years. They'll update things as time goes on. Continuous improvement versus just status quo that, oh, it's good enough, let it run. It's good enough to run for a few years, but if they can make it better, why not? Okay, just for the hell of it, we're just going to put this capacitor back in it. This is good enough to make it run. Just going to slap that in like that, temporarily flip it over, and let's just see if that gauge goes to work. And we may luck out and it might be all that's wrong. We may strike out and have more wrong with it. Look at that. So 2 bad diodes and things working again. But I imagine that lightning must have got it when it burnt that terminal up. So, well, I'm going to make a part 2 out of this and do the other things, but we'll do that in a little bit. So stay tuned. I'll put a link down in the description area down below. You can click on the part 2 for it. And again, that's our information right there, fencerfixer.com, or address, ship things to. All this stuff's in the description area, so you can click on the links and go right to the website and everything. So you got a fence charger you've worked on, send it in and we'll try to fix it for you.